I'd like to speak with you today about the Ignatian Imaginative method. And right off, some people will say, well, imagination, I don't really have much imagination. That's not one of the skills I have. But I would say, think back to your childhood. Were you ever afraid of the dark? Did you ever think of spooks and monsters in the closet or under your bed at night? Or did you ever run around with your friends outside and play a game that you made up the rules as you went along? Or did you lie in the grass and look up at the clouds and see shapes in the clouds? All these things happen in childhood and they absorb us so much we might even be surprised when we hear our mother's voice because we're so into it. But when we get older, we think, oh, imagination of a child is not important for me because I'm serious and I'm trying to make a living for my family. So imagination becomes a muscle that we just don't use. But Ignatius of Loyola says imagination is very important because that's where God meets us inside. When he was laid up in his bed for a year with his war wounds, he became very bored. And so he began reading, and they gave him romances of the courts of the kings, and he liked that, but it kind of left him flat afterwards. And then they gave him Lives of the Saints, and he became very excited, and it stayed with him. He wanted to be like Dominic or Francis out in the missions. And then they gave him The Life of Christ by Ludolf of Saxony. And he read the preface, and Ludolf says, don't just read the gospel and think about it. Imagine it. Bring it to life. Enter into the story. Think about it. Experience firsthand what it's like to be part of this passage with Jesus. And so what came down to us from that is the Ignatian imaginative method for reading scriptures. So we take some time aside and 20 to 30 minutes uninterrupted. Take a Bible with us with a passage from one of the Gospels and read the passage several times over and then set it aside, keeping the details in mind. Let the story come to life in your mind. Play it like a movie on the screen in the theater. And then you're sitting in the theater and you get up and you walk to the front and you walk right into the screen. You join Jesus as he walks along the shore. What's it like? What does it feel like? Consult your senses. What do you feel under your feet? Maybe sand or rocks or the cool water washing over your feet. What do you see? Maybe people dragging in their nets from their fishing boats or sorting the fish. What do you hear? Well, maybe gulls screaming overhead or children playing in the market. Consult all of your senses, including your inner sense, your intuition. What's happening in this story? You see Jesus walking up to these fishermen. Now, who are you in the story? Place yourself. Are you one of those fishermen? Where Jesus says, come follow me. I'm going to make you a fisher of men. Or are you one of the bystanders watching it happen? Or maybe even Zebedee, who is the father of James and John, and looking with disbelief as he sees his sons drop everything and follow this itinerant preacher. Or maybe you're a seagull overhead, getting a bird's eye view of the whole thing. Or maybe you're Jesus himself, excited to share the good news. Don't judge your imagination, just let it flow. And then, after a time when you're ready, come out of your reverie. Maybe take a journal and jot down what happened in your reflection. Maybe a gift that you received from God during that reflection. And then that's something you can go back to. But this method works because the Word of God is active and alive. It's not just something from 2,000 years ago. It's not just words on a page. But it's something that comes to life within us. We're going to share this method and other methods with you on the Busy Person's Retreat. So I hope to see you there.